Okay, we are ready for part 3 here today. And this time we're going to talk about complex numbers in standard form, which basically means that there is no negative under the square root. And just to recall, to make sure we remember that if we have the square root of -1, that is equivalent to I. So when we go to simplify these, we are basically going to see if we can pull a -1 out and make it equivalent to I. So the way that I always like to simplify these, and everybody does it a little bit differently, is I think of the factors of -12. And of course, anytime I have a negative under the square root, I want to think I need to take that -1 as one of my factors. So I'm going to have the square root of -1. Then I want to think, okay, is there a factor pair, two numbers that multiply together to be 12, and one of those numbers is a perfect square. So over here, I have listed out the perfect squares. 1 is a perfect square, 4 is a perfect square because the square root of 4 is exactly 2, the square root of 9 is exactly 3, the square root of 16 is exactly 4. So we want to ask ourselves, does one of those perfect squares go evenly into 12? And we know that 4 does. So we can break it apart into the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. Keeping in mind these are factors, which means these things are being multiplied together. And then I just basically say, I know that the square root of -1 is I know the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 3 is just 3. So when we go to write the answer, these numbers that are not under the square root, those go in front of the radical, and the square root of 3 stays under the radical because we didn't simplify that at all. So our answer is going to be 2, oops, I didn't have a pen there, 2I times the square root of 3. And you might be asking yourselves, why do I not have to put plus or minus in front of that square root? Because since this square root is already here, that just in mathematics, that means we assume the positive. We assume that it's the positive. When we have to put plus or minus out in front is when we actually take the square root of something. So if we had x squared equals 4, and we actually took the square root of both sides, then we would have to put plus or minus. But in this case, since the square root is already there, we are only assuming the positive. Okay, so let's kind of keep moving on with that same idea. Here we have 5 times the square root of -45, keeping in mind that is 5 multiplied by, or times, the square root of -45. So if I'm going to break apart my square root of -45, I'm going to take out the -1, and then my factor pair that I'm going to use is 9 times 5 because 9 is a perfect square. So I'm going to say the square root of 9 times the square root of 5. I know that the square root of -1 is I know that the square root of 9 is exactly 3, and the square root of 5 is just the square root of 5. So what I have is I've got 5 that was already there. I am multiplying it by times 3 times I times the square root of 5. Since these are all on the outside of the radical, I can multiply them together and I can get 15I times the square root of 5. Okay, so that's just simplifying radicals. Now if we're going to look at how we can multiply them, we are going to do the same basic idea. Let me erase this here so I can put my factors and stuff. And we are not just going to multiply what's underneath of the radicals. We need to simplify and get those radicals in standard form first, and then we can actually multiply. So I'm thinking the square root of -3, I need to take out a -1, and then the square root of 3 just stays the square root of 3. So I'm going to have I times the square root of 3, remember, because the square root of -1 is I, okay? And I'm going to multiply that by the square root of -12. Well, I need to take out my -1, break it down. I got the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. This is equivalent to I. That's equivalent to 2. So I'm multiplying those together. So I'm going to have 2I times the square root of 3. Since all of those things are being multiplied, what is on the outside can be multiplied together, and then what is underneath of the radicals can be multiplied together. And so we have 2 times I, that's in our green, so we're going to have 2 I squared times, well, the square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 9. So we have 2I squared times 3. Remember, I squared is -1, so we're going to have 2 times -1 times 3. And I'm breaking this down all into individual steps so you can see how it works. But 2 times -1 times 3 is -6. Okay, so take a look, make sure you get that written down because I'm going to erase some of that so that I have room to do the, well, I'll leave it there for now. I think I'll be able to fit my work onto the next one here. Okay, so let's look at the next one. We have the square root of -4 times 3 times the square root of -8. So let's think about this. We're going to take out a -1 times the square root of 4. That's I. That equals 2. So I know I'm going to have 2I times 3, because that's going to be there. And let's break this one apart too. I'm going to take out the -1. I'm going to have the square root of 4 and the square root of 2. This equals I. This equals 2 and the square root of 2. So, like I said, over here with the square root of -8, we've got 2I times the square root of 2. So we're going to have times 2I times the square root of 2. So we're going to multiply together what's on the outside of the radical, which is 2I times 3 times 2I. And then the square root of 2 stays underneath the radical. So 2 times 3 times 2, that's going to be 12I squared, oops, times the square root of 2. Okay, remember I squared is -1, so that's going to be 12 times -1 times the square root of 2, which is going to be -12 times the square root of 2. Okay, let's look at a couple more examples here. We add them together, and essentially if you have radicals like this, as long as what is underneath of the radical, the radicand underneath of there is the same, it's just like combining like terms. So that would be the same thing as saying 4x plus 3x, we would get 7x. So we have 4 times the square root of 5 plus 3 times the square root of 5 would be 7 times the square root of 5. And then, let's see here, of course we have to make it just a smidge bit more difficult, right? It's not any fun if everything is super simple. So we have the square root of -48 minus the square root of -27. So I'm going to take out that -1. And I need to think of the biggest perfect square that goes into 48. That means we only have to simplify once. So I'm going to use the square root of 16 and the square root of 3. And then I've got the square root of -27, which is going to be, again, that square root of -1, the square root of 9, and the square root of 3. The square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of -1 is I. So I'm going to have 4I times the square root of 3. Minus, well, the square root of 9 is 3, that's I, so I'm going to have 3I times the square root of 3. And once we've got, these are the same radicands underneath of there, we can just subtract, and 4I minus 3I is I, or 1I, minus, oops, excuse, not minus, sorry about that, times the square root of 3. All right, we got one more thing we got to do here today. This is going to be a little bit longer video. Sorry about that. Let's go on to the next thing. All right, next thing we're going to do is the complex solutions of a quadratic equation, and we are going to use the quadratic formula, which basically if you are given a quadratic equation in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, right, equals 0. Then you can use this formula where the coefficient of x squared is a, the coefficient of x is b, and the constant is c. And really it's just plugging it in and then making sure we know how to simplify. So let's just go ahead and do this. We've got a 1 here. So we've got a equals 1, b equals 6, c equals 10. So if we're going to do the opposite of b here, it would be -6 plus or minus the square root. B squared is going to be 6 squared, which is 36, minus 4 times A times C all over 2A, or 2 times 1. So let's kind of put some of that together. We're going to have negative 6 plus or minus the square root. 36 minus 40 is negative 4 over 2. Not to forget, we can't have a negative underneath of that square root, so we're going to have the square root of negative 1. Oops, that just needs to be a line there. Square root of negative 1 and the square root of 4. So we're going to have I, and we're going to have 2. Okay, so let's keep breaking that down. We're going to have negative 6 plus or minus 2I over 2. When we go to simplify these, we are going to break it apart into 2 separate fractions. So we're going to take negative 6 over 2 plus or minus 2I over 2. We just broke it apart into 2 separate fractions. Negative 6 over 2 is negative 3, plus or minus the 2's cancel, so we would have I. So our answer would be negative 3 plus or minus I. Okay, let's just look at one more example here that'll have a fraction in it as part of its answer. These numbers are a little bit bigger, but we're going to do the exact same thing here. So we've got A is 4, B is 16, and C is 17. So we're going to have the opposite of B. So we're going to have negative 16 plus or minus the square root of 16 squared minus 4 times A times C. So we have 16 squared minus 4. That's part of the equation. 4 is A and C is 17, all over 2A, which is 2 times 4. Okay, so let's keep working here. We got negative 16 plus or minus. If we combine what is underneath of the radical, we would get negative 16. You can go ahead and put that into your calculator if you want to double check my work. But we should get negative 16 under the radical, all over 8. Remember, we can't have a negative under the radical, so we're going to take out that negative 1, which is going to be I and 4. So we would have, excuse me, negative 16 plus or minus 4I over 8. Okay, so we are just going to break it apart. So we'd have negative 16 over 8 plus or minus 4I over 8. And negative 16 over 8 is just negative 2 plus or minus 4/8 is just a half. So we would have 1/2 I. Okay, and that I just goes right next to it. It would either be in the numerator, so you could also write it like this if we wanted to. We could also say negative 2 plus or minus I over 2, or you could have the I right next to it. Where the I cannot be is in the denominator, because that means we're dividing by I, which is not actually what we are doing. So I believe class kick things like that, it will end up looking like this, but this is also a correct answer. So that is how we can use the quadratic formula to find solutions with imaginary numbers. Good luck. There is a couple questions on the class kick for you to do.